Good morning, boys and girls of Alvin ISD Geometry. Today we're going to be talking about finding lateral and total surface area of pyramids and cones. So we're going to take a look at our first example. We want to find the lateral area of a regular hexagonal prism with a base edge of 9 centimeters and a lateral height of 7 centimeters. Now we want to remember that a hexagon means that it has 6 sides. And the fact that it's regular means that all the sides are congruent and all of the angles are congruent. So we're going to come over to our work, and I'm going to write my formula for the lateral area of a regular pyramid. So I'm going to write lateral is equal to 1/2 capital P, which stands for perimeter of the base, multiplied by L, which is our slant height, which if you take a look is that slant along the triangular face. So with the information they gave us in number 1, they gave us that our base edge was 9. Well, if my base is a hexagon with 6 sides, and I have one side that's 9, because it's regular, that means all of them are 9, which would make my perimeter of the base 54. My lateral slant height, they told me, was 7. So I have every value that I need to substitute into the formula. So now my lateral surface area will equal to 1/2 of 54 multiplied by 7. Half of 54 multiplied by 7 gives me 189 centimeters squared, since we are talking about area. All right, and now we're going to move on to our next example. So we'll go back to our notes, change our page. Go scroll up. So now we're going to be looking at total surface area of a regular pyramid. So our first pyramid is a square pyramid. And again, knowing that word regular, that means all of our sides along our base are going to be congruent. So for 2A with a square pyramid, I will need to write my formula for total surface area of a regular pyramid, which they tell us up here. Total surface area is equal to 1/2 perimeter of the base multiplied by lateral height, which is our lateral surface area. And then all we need to add in is that area of the base that we were missing. So I'm going to drag our notes up, and then I'm going to show our work for 2A and 2B. So for 2A, since we are finding total, my formula was 1/2 perimeter of the base multiplied by lateral slant height plus the area of the base. So if you notice on my base is a square. It's a square pyramid. I do not know my base length, so I cannot find my perimeter of the base yet. I do, however, know the height of the entire prism, and I know the slant height. Those two dimensions form a right triangle with half of what would be my side length. So I can come and use the Pythagorean theorem. So 11 would be the hypotenuse, 9 would be the long leg, and I'd be solving for a missing value of x to solve for the missing side. So I'm going to come over here to our calculator. So 11 squared minus 81, which is 9 squared, gives us 40. So then we'll take the square root of 40 to give us that missing side length. Square root of 40. Now this only gives us half of the value of that side length. So I would need to double it, which gives us 12.6. So x would equal, not x, our side length would equal 12.6 over here. So if I know my side length, now I can double that. So 12.6 times 4 gave us a perimeter of the base of 50.4. 50.4. And again, we know our lateral slant height was equal to 11. They gave us that. And for area of the base, it is a square, so I do know that it's just going to be my side multiplied by my side. So come over to our calculator again. And it's 12.6 times 12.6. We get a value of 158.76. So now I have every value that I need to substitute into my formula. So I will have 1/2 of my perimeter of the base, which was 50.4, multiplied by my lateral slant height, which was 11, added in with the area of the base, which is 158.76. So we'll put all this into our calculator. So 0.5 times 50.4 times 11 plus 158.76. We get a value of 435.96. And again, since it's surface area, we'll be looking at inches squared. All right, moving on now to example 2b, which again is another square pyramid. Now this time, since again we're solving for total surface area, our formula will be 1/2 perimeter of the base multiplied by lateral slant height plus that area of the base. If you look, they've already made it pretty easy for us. They've given us our side length and they've given us our lateral. So I am able to find perimeter of the base, which would be 40 since each side is 10. And then my lateral slant height would be 13. Now the only thing I would need to find is area of the base. But again, since we already know the side length of 10, 10 times 10 is 100, so my area of the base would be 100. So then plugging that into my formula, I get 1/2 of 40 multiplied by 13 plus 100 would give me my total surface area. Half of 40 is 20 multiplied by 13 plus 100. So we are going to get 260 plus 100 to give us our total surface area of 360 meters squared. Right, so now we're going to be moving on to some more challenging pyramids. So if we look at 3A, this is now a triangular pyramid, but again, we need to remember that we are working with regular shapes, meaning all of those base lengths are the same. So to find total surface area, I'll come over and write my formula. 1/2 perimeter of the base times lateral plus area of the base. So I'm going to write my variables that I will need to find. So for perimeter of the base, my side length, I'm just going to draw a picture of that base over here. Each side is 6, so my perimeter is 18. They gave me the lateral height, the lateral slant height of 8 feet. But now I need to find area of the base. This is not a right triangle, and I'm not actually given an altitude. But last week we learned about finding area of regular polygons using the formula 1/2 of the apothem multiplied by the perimeter of the base. And remember, our apothem is the distance from the center to the opposite side at a right angle. So it creates these two isosceles triangles. So we need to figure out what this missing angle is. I know that this side length is 3 and 3 because it is a segment bisector. And now I know all the sum of the interior angles of a polygon have to equal 360. So if I divide 360 by n, or the number of sides, which is 3, I get 120 as that central angle. Well, now 120 gets split because, again, our apothem is not only a segment bisector, but it is an angle bisector. So each angle here is 60. Now I'm solving for this missing side right there, which is A, our apothem. I have the angle of 60, I have the opposite side, and I'm looking for the apothem, which is the adjacent side. So I know when I have opposite and adjacent, that's actually my tangent. So I will use tangent of 60 is equal to the opposite side length, which is 3, over the adjacent side length, which is actually our apothem. To find A, A would equal 3 divided by the tangent of 60, which we're going to go into our calculator. Oopsies. Do 3 divided by tangent of 60, which gives us a value of our apothem is 1.73. So now I know the length of the apothem. I can substitute that in to find area of the base. So 1/2 the apothem, which is 1.73, multiplied perimeter of the base, which is 18. So half of 18 is 9, so I'll take 9 times 1.73, and that gives me an area of the base of 15.7. Excuse me, 15.57, which I'm going to round to 15.6. Excuse me. So now that I have all the variables that I need to solve for the, this total surface area of this prism, I will say surface area is equal to 1/2 of 18 multiplied by 8 plus our area of the base, which is that 15.6. So I can take all these values into my calculator. Half of 18 I know is 9. 9 times 8 gives us 72. So then plus that 15.6, we get a total surface area of 87.6 feet squared. All right, and now we're going to look at our last example of a pyramid, which is our 3B example. Again, since we're solving for total, it is half of our perimeter of the base multiplied by the lateral slant height plus that area of the base. Now, if I count the sides correctly, this is a pentagonal pyramid, which means, so I'm going to come over here and I'm going to draw a really big pentagon just to kind of help me. I know the individual side length is 4, so automatically 4 times 5 gives me that perimeter of the base of 20. I still need my lateral slant height and my area of the base. Since I've already drawn my pentagon, which is the shape of my base, I know I can go ahead and find that area of the base by using the 1/2 of the apothem times perimeter formula. So I'm going to draw my apothem. And again, it hits at that 90. And it's a bisector, so that makes this side length 2 and this side length 2. I know that this angle would be half of whatever our central angle is. So again, it's 360 divided by n, which in this case is 5. So that gives us a central angle of 72 degrees. But since we only want half of that, this angle right here will be 36 degrees. So just like that previous example, I have my opposite side, but I'm looking for my apothem, which is the adjacent. So its tangent of 36 is equal to the opposite side, which is 2, divided by the apothem. So to find our apothem, it would be 2 divided by tangent of 36. So I will go take that into the calculator. 2 divided by tangent of 36. This gives us a value of 2.75, which is the length of our apothem. So now I can use that. I can say 1/2 of the apothem, which is 2.75, multiplied by the perimeter of the base, which is 20. This should yield the area of the base for us. So half of 20 is 10, and 10 times 2.75 gives us a value of 27.5. So our area of the base is 27.5. But now I just need to find my lateral. So looking at this image, I notice I don't have my lateral. I know the height of the triangle, or excuse me, the height of the entire prism, and I know that that will form a right triangle with the lateral slant height. Well, that length right here, notice I drew my right triangle to represent that. That long leg is 7. The distance from the center to the opposite side that would make that right triangle is actually the distance of our apothem. So the distance right there will actually be 2.75. So now I can just use Pythagorean theorem. So I go over here, and I know that 49 plus 2.75 squared, so 49 plus 2.75 squared gives us 56.56. When we take the square root of that value, we get 7.5. So if we come back over to our work, that means that our lateral side length is 7.52. 7.52. So then when I substitute that value into the formula, I get half of 20 multiplied by 7.52 plus 27.5. We put that in the calculator to get our total surface area value of 102.5 inches squared.